Now, while we've seen incremental changes with WooCommerce, we haven't in a long time seen any major changes to how you work with products and those types of things. Well, until now. This is still a beta feature, but I think it's definitely worth taking a look at because it does change the whole way in which you add and edit and manage your products. It also brings with it some additional features, which I'm going to demonstrate throughout this video. Okay, so how do we get it first of all? Because it's not switched on by default. It's very easy. All you need to do is come into your dashboard, into WooCommerce, and open up the settings section. Choose Advanced, and then choose the Features option at the end. And this will then give you the ability to enable and disable various features, including the new product editor, which I've already got enabled. Hit Save Changes once you've done that, and everything will be set up for you. Now, if we go and take a look at any of our products, and you'll now notice everything looks very, very different. We've now got a tabbed work approach. As opposed to everything being lumped together on the one page, we now have a step-by-step tab section at the top. Now, whether you like this or dislike this is probably down to a personal preference. For me, it does kind of feel like you're adding extra clicks in for no real reason. But if you're new to working with WooCommerce and you want to just kind of go through in a step-by-step logical fashion, this opens up those options to you as opposed to everything being on that single page, which could be considerably overwhelming if you're not used to how WooCommerce works. Now, everything you're used to is still here, but it does operate in a fundamentally different way. Plus, we have some extra features. So you can still drop in your name, summary, list price, sales price, and so on. But the first change we're going to see is under the description section. You'll see that we've got this kind of marginal section showing us the basic sort of opening sentence or two of our description. And if we edit this, we now get a kind of distraction-free editor, a little bit more akin to full-site editing. But the main thing I want to draw your attention to is now we have access to the Gutenberg blocks. Previously, you could literally just use the normal old-fashioned editor, the classic editor, and you were kind of limited to what you could do. Now we have full design capabilities. So for example, we may want to add something like a gallery of images in. Well, let's go and do just that. We'll just simply click to add a new option in. We'll choose the block we want. We'll say gallery for this example. Choose our gallery. Either upload or choose the media library. We'll grab a bunch of images and pretend these are from the same product and create a new gallery and then insert our gallery. And now we have a new gallery inserted directly in. And as you can see, if we open up the list view on the left-hand side, there's our gallery block. So we can customize this, the number of columns we want, for example. We've also got the ability to customize things like the colors, dimensions, and so on. Once you're happy with everything, then you can click on Done, or you can carry on editing to your heart's content to put out whatever information you want. Let's choose Done on here, and let's just update this page, first of all, and let's preview this. So now everything looks the same, but we now have this great looking gallery inserted into our description that's in keeping with everything inside our design. So it's really good to see that. Previously, we had to use a function to enable the ability to use Gutenberg blocks inside our editor, which wasn't the most elegant solution. So it's nice to see this is going to be included in by default when this comes out of beta, or beta for the Americans. Now, before we move on, here's a quick message from today's video sponsor, SEO Press. Now, as a paying customer of SEO Press for over 4 years, here are some of the tools and features that make my SEO life effortless. Now, SEO Press Pro helps you harness the power of OpenAI by making it incredibly easy to instantly generate relevant titles and meta descriptions for your posts and pages. You can use them as they are or refine them for perfection for your SEO needs. Now, you stay informed and in control by seamlessly tracking your website's performance by integrating the Google Search Console within your WordPress dashboard. Now, you also want to discover the efficiency of the universal SEO meta box, perfectly integrating with all major WordPress page builders, including the native Gutenberg. And if you're tied to another SEO plugin, there's no worries. SEO Press ensures a swift and smooth migration of your settings to switch over in seconds. Dive into SEO Press today, where powerful SEO becomes elegantly effortless. The next thing is the images. Now, at the moment, you can see we've got one image and we've got this little pill in the top corner that says this is the cover image. In other words, this is the featured image. Let's choose a couple more images. So now we have 4 images in total, and this first one being our featured image. But we can change that to whatever we want. We may want this one. You click, choose to set as cover, that becomes the first image, the other ones are pushed over. If you want to adjust the order of these, you can select them and use the left and right arrows. And if you want to get rid of any of these, you can click on the little 3 dots, the little kebab menu, and click to choose remove. Now for me, I hope they update this because this feels really, really clunky. You can see when we hover over, we get the little hand, but we can't actually move any of these. You've got to click on it to get this option and then use the arrows, which kind of feels just really dated and old-fashioned. So hopefully they will change that and we'll get to drag these around very easily. And maybe then the first one will automatically become the cover instead of having to right-click and choose that option. So there's the first sort of options under the general section. If we now hop over to organization, this is where we're going to apply the categories and any tags you want, as well as some other things, and add custom attributes. So you can see the first thing is our categories, so we can choose where this comes in. So we'll change this from accessories to furniture, and you may want to put this in a couple of different locations where you can simply just choose more than one. It's nothing you haven't seen before. It's just taking it out of the editor that we used to. Same thing goes for tags. You can see we can choose tags here, and we can change things. We add things in directly in here, which is nice. So we'll create a new one called chairs. And you can see we can hide this from the product catalog, hide it from the search results, enable or disable product reviews, or we can set this to require a password should we want to. So nothing you haven't seen already. The attributes, again, works in the same way, but it's nicer in the fact that it makes it a little bit less intimidating to set these up over the old version. For example, let's add a new attribute. And let's say you could do something like size inside here if you want to. So we can say the sizes that are available or whatever attribute you want. So we'll just choose size for this example. We can choose from any that we've pre-created, or we can create a new one. So we can say X large for this. And we'll say, we'll create that. And we'll remove the large from there. And we'll say we're happy. So we can now keep on adding more and more attributes. And again, let's update this. Let's preview our product. And now if we come down, you can see we've got the additional information, which is where our attributes will be shown, and you can see the size is available in there. So you could put whatever you wanted, any of the attributes that you're normally used to adding in, and they'll be added automatically in. So it's just a nicer way of being able to do what you've already been able to do for quite some time. So we'll leave that. We'll hop over to the pricing side of things, and here you can see we can set your list and your sale price. You want to schedule a sale. You've got your charging sale tax, what kind of tax you want to apply, then your tax classes. So again, you've seen all of these. Nothing inside here is new. It's just the way it operates. Hopping to the inventory section, again, you can add in a SKU code if you want to. You can track stock, choose the stock status, and also jump into the advanced, and you can do your normal things like restricting the number of options. Shipping, as your name would suggest, we can set our shipping classes if we've got them set up inside here. We can also create a new shipping class should we want to, and we can just easily just add in that shipping class directly here. You can set your dimensions as well, so if you're setting this up to be shipped based upon the size, the weight, and so on, you can do that here. Finally, the variations, and this is probably where the biggest change over the extra sort of blocks we can use inside the description field comes in. Now we can add variations directly inside here in a much more streamlined fashion. It isn't perfect, but it is probably an improvement in some areas. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's add a variation option. And as we can see, we can create attributes and values inside here. Now you can still create these in the same way as you would have done before. However, it's probably easier to do them here when you're creating a product. And then if you reuse those, you can start to reuse them easily. So you can see size was already created, but let's create something different. Let's choose color. We'll create color and we'll just set a couple of values. So there you go, I created 4 different values, and as you can see, when we create them, it also gives you the ability to choose the checkboxes. So we may say, we add all those, but green is no longer available. Well, I can just uncheck green, and that's taken out of my variations. And if I want to add more variations in, I can do that here. So if I want to do sizes, those types of things, it can all be done here. We'll add this in. And now you can see our variations have been created. You can set this to edit it should you want to. So if we click edit, that'll just take us back in, and you can see we can update various different things. We can use these as filters, show them in the product details, set as default values, and so on. Let's cancel out of that. You'll notice then underneath that we've got our variations, but it needs some more information before these are available to start working with. So we don't have any prices set. So if we click on set prices, you can see we can set prices here, or we can click on the little kebab menu on the actions, and in there we've got more options. So let's choose blue as our first one. We'll set our pricing on there. We'll set our list price, and we'll say this is $199.99. And we'll click OK. Then we'll say, you can see this is now set as to be in stock. You'll also notice that the little I icon with the question mark has gone, so it says that we've got a value inside there, so that can be used, whereas the other two don't have value, so they can't currently be used, so they're not visible. So once we change that and we say we want to put the pricing on there, and we'll set the price, and you can see you can also increase the list price or decrease the list price from here. So we've got several different options we can use. For this, we'll just set the price, and we'll say this one's going to be $249 because we all love it when they charge more money for a different color variation of the same product. And again, we'll go to this one and we'll set our pricing on here, set the list price, and we'll do that as $199.99 again. And there we go. So we've now set that up. So you can see once we do that, that error message now disappears, telling us we've set things up. Now again, let's hit update. Let's hop over and take a look at our product and refresh. And now you can see we can choose our color. If we choose purple, our price updates accordingly. Choose blue, it goes back down to the previous price. So we've made these changes, they're reflected straight away, and in all honesty, it is a little easier. It just still feels just a little bit clunky in some ways. Although for the variations, I do actually like the way this has been done, because variations in WooCommerce have always been a little bit of a pain and really do confuse some people until you start doing this on a regular basis. But you can, again, change things on here. So you've got your options to choose these little options for the hamburger menu. Set your pricing, your inventory. So you can update your stock, your toggle track quantity, inventory, shipping. We can set things on there for the height, weight, and so on. So you may have different ones like we've seen before. Different products could have, or different variations have different sizes, weights, and so on. It can all be set up directly inside here. So I do appreciate the way this has been done. And now we update this, we've basically set everything we need to up, and our product is up and running with the variations, with the inventory, with shipping, pricing, organization, all those things have been set. And that is kind of the key areas that have been updated using the beta version of the new updated editor for WooCommerce. For me, I do appreciate some of the changes. I like this. The variations are a little easier to work with. I don't like the whole sort of setting your image to be the primary image and having to use arrows to move things around. That feels really clunky and dated. But I do like the ability to be able to use any of the Gutenberg blocks, including any installed blocks you may have yourself. So if you use generate blocks or cadence blocks or something, all those will be available, so you can get really creative with your descriptions for your products. But what do you think? Are you a WooCommerce user? Is this something you think is a welcome addition to the way that it works? Is this something you'd like to see rolled out sooner rather than later? Let me have all your feedback in the comment section down below. As always, all applicable links are in the description. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts. Until next time, take care.